In the crew quarters of a luxury yacht, a group of female attendants gossip about a football superstar who just boarded today. When they hear he makes 8 figures a year, they all start fantasizing about becoming a Cinderella who marries into wealth. Some even come up with plans to strike up a conversation with him. Listening to their chatter, the new girl, Lana, can't help but laugh and shake her head. Her harsh reality has long crushed any dreams of a fairy tale ending, but little does she know fate is already knocking on her door.
Hey, Lana? I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you.
When she learns who he is, Lana feels absolutely nothing.
What can I get you, sir?
Well, okay, first 2 things. Don't call me sir. And second, dirty martini. Upside down.
Coming right up.
She serves him a drink, and Ryan takes his glass and walks off to sit elsewhere. Time passes. One by one, the bar staff finish their shifts. With no one else left in sight, the thoroughly drunk Ryan once again approached Lana. He tries to chat her up, but Lana brushes him off casually. She deeply dislikes drunk men.
I'm getting the feeling that you don't really want to talk to me.
What brings you to this cruise?
Ironically, it's that very indifference that grabs Ryan's full attention. After all, with his fame and fortune, women usually throw themselves at him. But a woman who tells him to leave? That's a first. Without insisting further, Ryan pours himself another drink and walks out. This scene happened to be witnessed by a female attendant who had just arrived. Back in the crew quarters, the other girls look at Lana with envy, wishing they were the ones being hit on. Lana firmly declares she'd never get involved with someone like Ryan. What she hates most in this world are men who drink themselves into a stupor. Just a week ago, Lana had been picking up her son from school when she saw her alcoholic husband sneak into a hotel with a seductive woman. That night, when Ruslan came home, Lana sent their 7-year-old son to his room and confronted him.
Шпионил, значит, да?
But Ruslan showed no remorse and even tried to hit her. Thankfully, their son came out just in time, pushing his father away and throwing himself into his mother's arms, stopping the situation from escalating. Years of Ruslan's drinking meant this wasn't the first time something like this happened. For the sake of her son's well-being, Lana took him to live at her mother's house the very next day. But when Ruslan found out, he sent someone to tow away their car. Lana understood his message. Since she'd given up her career for the family and her mother had no income, without going back, they'd be financially stranded. To truly escape Ruslan's grip, Lana refused to give in and found a job as a yacht attendant. Though the contract lasted 2 months, it was her only way to create a stable future. Heartbroken, she said goodbye to her son. But never in her wildest dreams did she expect Ryan, who reminded her so much of her drunken husband, to be the one to change her life. The next day, while laying blankets on deck chairs, Lana noticed Ryan nearby, still holding an unfinished drink. Although she hated the sight, she politely reminded him, out of professional duty.
I really think you shouldn't drink anymore, Mr. Hawks.
As Ryan got up to leave, Lana crouched down to clean up broken glass on the floor. Ryan hesitated mid-step, then turned back to help her clean.
Thank you.
Standing there, he was filled with regret. Once he had completely sobered up, Ryan approached Lana again to apologize for what had happened on the deck earlier. Before she could respond, he began to stammer awkwardly.
Do you?
Well, I'm not most women, and definitely not your kind of woman.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that.
Not giving him a chance to gather his words, Lana turned and walked away. Ryan, however, wasn't ready to give up. Over the next 2 days, he repeatedly staged accidental encounters with Lana. But Lana, focused solely on earning money and working hard, completely ignored his obvious advances. But soon, Lana's supervisor, Mr. Zimmer, noticed the growing closeness between them. He warned Lana strictly, crew members must not get too close to guests. Right then, Ryan, who had been following Lana, appeared. And just like that, Mr. Zimmer changed his tone.
You cannot work 4 weeks without a day off. And goodbye to you, sir.
Even as Ryan tried to step in and defend her, Lana showed no gratitude. After all, if he hadn't been hounding her every day, she wouldn't have been called in for a lecture. On Friday, when the yacht docked, Lana took her camera and went ashore alone. What she didn't realize was that Ryan quietly followed behind her.
Good morning there, my sweet surrender. Oh, relax. Give me a little secret.
You're gonna follow me all day, aren't you?
Well, now that you mention it.
As they walked along the beach, Lana realized she couldn't shake him off, so she let him tag along. At that moment, she asked the question that had been bothering her. What had happened to make him rely on alcohol like this? From her observations these past few days, Lana realized that Ryan wasn't addicted to alcohol like her husband. 4 months earlier, Ryan had scored a stunning goal that secured his team a place in the World Cup. That night, he drank heavily in celebration, letting his wild side loose, but that's when disaster struck. He got into a car crash. Although doctors saved his life, his legs were badly injured. Months of recovery meant he missed the World Cup. And since the crash was caused by drunk driving, the public turned on him. His team quickly distanced themselves from him to protect their reputation. Millions in endorsement deals vanished overnight. Even the girlfriend who once deeply loved him now looked down on him. Ryan's entire life spiraled into the darkest chapter he'd ever known. To escape everything he had lost, Ryan chose to travel as a way to cope. Learning that this seemingly carefree man was carrying such heavy burdens, Lana felt a wave of sympathy, and her opinion of him began to shift. Sensing the topic had grown too heavy, she took off her backpack and wandered toward the sea. Soon they were splashing in the waves, laughing and playing, their bond no longer as distant as when they first disembarked. While browsing for souvenirs, a soccer ball rolled to Ryan's feet, and he kindly picked it up.
Ball, kid.
You're Ryan Holmes?
Yes, nice to meet you.
Guys, it's Ryan Holmes!
Seeing this, Ryan immediately tried to pull Lana away. Yet when a young boy teased him, something in Ryan snapped. A surge of competitive fire lit up inside him. He dove into the game, playing with the children as if they were old friends. Lana quickly pulled out her camera to capture the moment. The joyful scene lasted until sunset. Though his injuries flared up from all the action, the pain was nothing compared to the deep sense of fulfillment he felt. That night on the roadside, Lana ran into a convenience store to buy Ryan an ice pack. Then, as if remembering something, she took out a pen and paper and asked Ryan for his autograph. Seeing his confusion, Lana explained she was helping a 7-year-old boy fulfill his dream. Turns out, Lana had known about Ryan even before he boarded the yacht, because her son was one of his biggest fans. Just as she was about to confess she had a 7-year-old child, the store owner interrupted. He, too, was a Ryan fan and asked for a photo. In a world still full of criticism toward him, Ryan couldn't bear to let down a supporter. After the man left, Ryan didn't bring up anything about Danny again.
There's this amazing place. It's like a 5 stars, best meal on the Med.
I don't think it's a good idea.
No, this isn't about one of your silly ship rules, is it?
At this point, Lana could no longer bring herself to push Ryan away. When her co-workers found out, they were shocked, then quickly excited for her. They all headed to the mall together to give Lana a complete makeover. By the time she reappeared in front of Ryan, she looked like a whole new woman.
Sorry. This is for you.
They walked through the crowd hand in hand. Soon after, they took a boat to another nearby island, but when they arrived, Ryan was surprised. This wasn't the 5-star restaurant he had booked. Realizing the mix-up, he quickly apologized, taking full responsibility.
I just like the Four Seasons. We can go somewhere fancier if you want.
Are you kidding me? Look, this is perfect. Try it.
Seeing that she liked it, Ryan didn't insist any further. They sat across from each other as soft music filled the air. The quiet night was warmed by the chatter and laughter around them. Then, at Ryan's invitation, they danced barefoot on the beach. At such a close distance, each breath, each movement, was filled with unspoken tension. The music faded, but the magic lingered. Lying side by side, gazing up at the stars, they soaked in the peaceful night sky. Before they knew it, morning had arrived. Since the yacht was docked at a different island, Ryan paid local fishermen a hefty fee to help them return. They rushed back, and Lana made it just in time, right as the yacht was preparing to leave. But before she could catch her breath, her supervisor appeared. She was called into the office. It turned out that besides Lana, the only passenger recorded as staying off ship overnight was Ryan.
Fraternizing with a guest. It's an irreversible breach of contract.
Despite Lana's desperate pleas, Mr. Zimmer, who only cared about the rules, decided to terminate her employment. Upon hearing that Lana had been fired, Ryan immediately got off the yacht as well. He wanted to stand up for her, but Lana stopped him. The company provided housing was cramped and rough. Ryan had a much better place in mind. As it turns out, Mr. Zimmer had been so certain about their involvement because another woman had reported them. Sure enough, Jealousy brings out the ugliness in people. In a resort surrounded by islands, Ryan introduced Lana to the owner. They had once been rivals on the field, but in real life, they were close friends. While the place was definitely more fun than the yacht, Lana was touched that Ryan had gone this far for her. For the next 2 days, Lana lived the kind of life she had never dared to imagine. No family stress, no work pressure, just peace, freedom, and someone who genuinely loved her by her side. In their time together, Lana felt the sincerity in Ryan's heart, and her own heart began to soften in return. That night, by the glowing pool, their kiss sealed their love. But just as Ryan began to dream of a beautiful future together, reality hit Lana like a bucket of cold water. Ruslan had found her mother's home, and he was now waiting for Lana to return from her job. Just after ending a video call with her mother, Ryan quietly approached from behind, holding out a carefully prepared necklace. Lana's smile faded almost instantly, replaced by a look of deep worry as she gently returned the necklace to him. Ryan was confused and followed her, asking what had happened. Realizing she couldn't keep hiding the truth, Lana finally told him why she had left home to work. She was being harassed by her alcoholic ex-husband and struggling to support her mother and child. Step by step, Ryan walked closer, expressing his love for her. But he didn't force her to accept him. Instead, he gave her 2 months. They agreed not to exchange phone numbers. Each would return to their own life, handle what needed to be handled, and if they still loved each other after 2 months, they would meet again in Palace Square, St. Petersburg. Lana handed Ryan the photos she'd taken throughout their journey. After one last emotional embrace, they went their separate ways. Over a month had passed, and when Lana finally saw her son again, her heart overflowed with joy. She gifted him Ryan's autograph as a special surprise. But when she faced Ruslan again, Lana's mindset had completely changed. Her mother told her the real reason Ruslan had returned. He wanted Lana to go back with him. Or else, he'd take Danny away and make sure mother and son never saw each other again. Had this happened before she met Ryan, Lana might have surrendered. But not anymore. She didn't rush to confront Ruslan. First, she found a cleaning job not far from her mother's house. Then she picked the right time to invite Ruslan for a talk. Thinking she had given in, Ruslan arrived with a smug smile. That smile vanished the moment he saw the folder in her hands. Inside was a legal complaint drafted by a lawyer. Lana had collected enough evidence of his years of alcohol abuse and domestic violence. She used it to counter-threaten Ruslan. If he didn't want to end up in prison, he'd better stay away from Danny for good. Lana didn't have to say yes or no. Her silence said it all. The moment Ruslan stepped out of the restaurant, Lana knew she was finally free to embrace a new life. On her way home, she passed a newsstand and spotted a bold headline: "Former football star Ryan stages a strong comeback." It turned out Ryan hadn't been idle during this time. With the help of doctors and his agent, he was recovering faster than anyone expected. Several teams had tried to sign him, and in the end, he joined a highly promising club on his agent's recommendation. Time flew by, and soon the 2-month mark had arrived. Ryan flew to St. Petersburg in advance and arrived at Palace Square early the next morning. As he watched the constant stream of tourists pass by, his heart pounded with a mix of excitement and unease. Lana, on her end, had already done her makeup and was ready to go. But just as she was about to leave, Danny, who had been playing with a little girl downstairs, was caught in an accident. A group of older boys had set their sights on their soccer ball. In the scuffle, Danny was pushed and hit his head hard on the ground. Thanks to emergency treatment, Danny's life was no longer in danger, but when or if he would wake up remained unknown. Staring at her unconscious son lying in the hospital bed, Lana completely forgot about her meeting with Ryan. Back at Palace Square, as Lana failed to appear, Ryan grew increasingly anxious. By the time Lana remembered, she raced through the streets toward the square. But the sky had already opened up with heavy rain. Ryan stood with a single umbrella, slowly walking toward the square's exit. But just moments after his figure disappeared, Lana arrived at the square. And just like that, they passed each other by. Even though they had both made it to the agreed meeting place, neither caught sight of the other. And in their hearts, the same painful thought took root. Perhaps the other person was never truly sincere. That idea filled Ryan with deep frustration. But he didn't leave. Clinging to the last thread of hope, he waited in the square for 2 more days. Only after his heart had completely sunk did he finally prepare to leave the city. But just as he was on his way out, a building caught his eye. He remembered Lana once mentioning that her son Danny was a huge football fan. If Danny had ever played in a match, then there might be a record of him at the local football association. Ryan knew the chances were slim, like finding a needle in a haystack, but he couldn't let go of even the faintest lead to find Lana. Just as hope faded and Ryan was about to call a cab to the airport, someone tapped him on the shoulder from behind.
Is it somebody's birthday?
Make-A-Wish Foundation. Join us.
Look, I'd love to, but I gotta get on a flight soon.
It would make kids very happy. It probably make...
Hearing that familiar phrase again, Ryan's heart was deeply moved. They had just arrived at the hospital, but as they were about to enter the room of the boy they came to visit, a nurse walked over. She spoke to the doctor in Russian, words Ryan couldn't understand. Then, he was led into the room next door. As if guided by fate, the boy lying in that hospital bed was Danny. Danny was already awake, but his mother was nowhere to be seen. After a warm exchange and some comforting words, Ryan picked up the soccer ball on the table, ready to sign it for Danny. But something on the table caught his eye.
Your mom. What's your mom's name?
Lana.
And you're Danny. Where's your mom now?
Wait, you know her?
Yo, I've been looking for her.
She left a while ago. So she's probably crossing the bridge. She didn't get to the metro already.
Okay.
And in that moment, Ryan finally understood why Lana hadn't shown up that day. Ignoring the pain in his injured legs, he sprinted toward the bridge. Even though he ran as fast as he could, he was still one step too late. Bridge workers were already preparing to raise it. Ryan shouted at the top of his lungs, but no one responded. Then, a wild idea surged through his mind. While the staff weren't looking, he burst through the barrier. As the bridge slowly lifted between them, Ryan drew a deep breath and sprinted with everything he had.
How'd you find me?
Danny helped.
No words were needed. His actions spoke louder than anything he could say. As the camera slowly pulled away, freezing on the image of their passionate kiss, the film came to an end.